This video is sponsored by Casetify. I have never felt so much pressure for a What's on My iPhone video because iOS 14 and the iPhone 12 opened up so many opportunities of what you can actually do. So we're gonna go through some of my favorite apps, some of the newest features, like what's a gimmick and what do you actually need. And I'm gonna be doing it on an iPhone 12. If you're wondering which iPhone I actually use, I haven't quite decided yet. I still gotta see the mini and the Max, but I really do like the 12s this year. If you're debating what to get, don't worry, you will be happy if you just get the basic 12 because they're great. Let's start with the feature that's reshaping everybody's home screen, and that's widgets. This has been on Android for a while, but the fact that it's on iOS is a very big deal and a very welcome addition. The first app you should be checking out is called WidgetSmith. I use it to display a giant date at the top of the screen, and I've created a little stack with them so I can swipe up and down and get either a full calendar view or just the day and date view. And if you haven't discovered how to edit widgets yet, it's pretty simple. You press and hold anywhere on the screen, just like you'd always move an icon. And up here, I'm gonna add a new one with this plus icon in the top left. Now I'm gonna go to WidgetSmith, and let's add one more medium widget. And to make a stack, all I need to do is drag it over top of the other one, and then they are combined, so as I swipe back and forth, that's how you see multiple widgets. And actually, if you want to do the exact same customization to your watch, WidgetSmith came from a watch app that he was already developing, so you can add complications in a similar way. Now, widgets are only available if a developer implements it, so all of your apps won't necessarily have them yet. The most important ones I've found, I put on my second screen here, and at the top, there's weather, and that app is Carrot Weather, just does a great job, has a snarky attitude. You've probably seen Carrot before. And I think probably the biggest change to my productivity is adding this big to-do list using the app Things 3. That is just a simple checklist. Like I use the most basic functionality of it of like, here's the things that have to be done this week. And then I can just check them off. So if I want to create a new one, I'll say plus and say record what's on my iPhone video. And then when I'm done, I can easily check it off. Things also has an app on macOS, so you can sync your information back and forth. And I'm trying out a few different things. I've used TickTick in the past, and I'm gonna be trying Notion a little bit. I'm in flux with my productivity apps, but for now, something basic is exactly what I need. And if we skip ahead to one more screen, this is where I'm experimenting with other widgets that I may end up sticking with. I don't know if they're gonna be useful in the long run. You know, at the top here, I've got a Dropbox that shows my most recently edited files. I have a document scanner for Dropbox, a random thought generator from Apollo, which is a Reddit app, and just random photos that my iPhone 12 thinks I'm gonna like. So what's new to iOS 14 is being able to put widgets anywhere on your screen, but you already had a widget panel if you just swipe to the far left. At the top of mine, I've got the default weather app in a smaller window, and also a battery indicator. So this will tell me if my AirPods or my Apple Watch is charged. And then also a news app. I decided to put news on the left screen because I can make it much bigger here than I can on the other screens. The largest widget isn't as big as this, so I could have multiple categories and just see more news at once. On Twitter, I asked what were your favorite features on the iPhone 12 and iOS 14, and the most popular answers are things I don't actually use at all. So the first one is there's a new secret button hiding on the iPhone 12, and that's the back. So if you open up settings, go into accessibility, look for touch, and then find back tap. So you can see there's quite a bit that it can do. Right now I have it assigned to reachability so that if I double tap the back of my phone, the icons will drop down. That can be pretty handy. I don't use this because it just hasn't been reliable. The first thing I was trying it with is the camera. I think you need to use a shortcut to do this, but once it's there, it does work. I tap the back and the camera launches, but it works a little bit too well, so I found I was often accidentally launching the camera when I really didn't mean to, and that is not what you want to be doing. And you can also assign it to be a triple tap instead of a double tap. I still was accidentally launching it. So if you're going to use back tap, I would just assign it to something that isn't too critical or doesn't interrupt your workflow too much. The other cool one that's led to way more interesting home screens than mine is the custom icons, where every single icon on your screen can be completely custom. It's pretty crazy, and it's cool that you can do it, but I am absolutely not gonna do that because right now it's still totally janky. It's basically using the Shortcuts app for something it wasn't intended for. So you're clicking on a shortcut instead of the app, and there's a delay when you launch the app. I'm not interested in that. I'll happily wait for Apple to officially support this somehow, and some apps are doing it on their own. For example, Instagram right now, you can change to a custom icon by going to settings and dragging down from the top of the screen until you get to a little hidden menu. You can set a custom Instagram icon. Every app should do that. Sounds great, but yeah, the Shortcuts way, I'm not doing it. Last year, I'd actually kind of hack my phone to try to push all of the icons down. So now that I have the date at the top, I have everything I use on a regular basis kind of within thumb range. So if you take a look, like anything that I can reach with this thumb, those are my most commonly used apps because I can get to them most easily. But another thing I always used to do is I'd try to hide all my widgets like buried at the back using a bunch of folders. Well, now I don't have to. This is a huge addition to iOS 14. So you can see right now I have kind of a junk screen at the end. Like these are just random apps that don't really belong anywhere. I can just press the ... button at the bottom and uncheck that screen. And now that whole screen is just going to be hidden. When I say done, it doesn't show up anymore. But don't worry, all of that is now in your app library. So Apple is automatically sorting all the apps on your phone for you. So you don't need to try to do it manually or maintain a bunch of junk extra screens that you're never actually looking at. This is a huge addition. Like I really appreciate this because I'd spend the time managing my apps, but I know a lot of people don't. Now, if you're not used to hiding your apps like this, it might feel like a big pain to try to find them. Well, don't worry, you don't have to swipe over to the app library and then start typing, whatever it is you're searching for. There's an easier way. Instead, you can be on any screen at all, drag down, and you will see the search bar at the top. If you start typing, it's going to suggest a bunch of apps up there, and you could reach up with your finger and touch it. That's what I used to do. But what you can actually do that's much quicker is just after you start typing it and it suggests the app, just click go and it launches the app automatically. By the way, I know Notion is like the trendiest app in the world right now. Should I be using it, guys? Can you give me some feedback in the comments? It looks a little like too complicated or too much. I don't know, maybe I need it. And while I'm talking about new apps, a few that I just started using recently are Magic Plan, which is a way of basically planning out your whole home. This is perfect for us because we are renovating a house right now. And in fact, I think you should go follow it on Instagram. It's at Dover_house. And we are just tearing apart a house from 1975 and making it as nice as possible. Like we're just getting started, things are demolished. Go check out the progress as it comes along. But home planning apps get way cooler if you've got LiDAR. So this is an iPhone 12 Pro, which has LiDAR built into it. And this is what I've been using when we're planning out the house. All I had to do is walk around the house pointing my phone at various walls and corners, and it would scan it all for me. And now I've got not only these 3D blueprints, but full on 3D maps. So, we can plan out where furniture is gonna go, where we're gonna put new walls, where we're gonna put closets. It makes us feel like much more professional general contractors than we really are. And it was super easy to use. And don't worry, if you don't have the iPhone 12 Pro or the iPad Pro that has LiDAR in it, that's okay. You don't actually need it to use Magic Plan. You can do a lot of the same things with just the basic camera. Another cool one is IKEA Place, where you can just drop furniture into the room. That's especially good with LiDAR. Definitely pick up a Pro just to try that. And then Primer, which lets you sample and choose different wallpaper or paint options. It's like live swatching in augmented reality. And now it's time to jump into the meat and potatoes of what I use on my iPhone 12 on a daily basis. But of course, first, is the case. And these cases are by today's sponsor, Casetify. Their cases are slim and protective, way more protective than what you're gonna find with those cheaper Amazon alternatives. They're engineered with a 2-layer construction of what they call Chi-Tech material, and altogether it makes the phone and case only 13 millimeters thin. They'll survive an impact of over 6 feet and support wireless charging, including MagSafe. They come in tons of different designs so you can choose your favorite color or print for your case to match your phone in style. I think these blue phones go great with a set of clouds, but I've also done some that are customized to my initials and also just stuck my name on one. You can put whatever you want on it. All their cases feature an antimicrobial coating, so they'll be just as clean as your freshly washed hands, and they're also made from recycled plastic. Now it's time to go find a case that matches your iPhone 12. So head to casetify.com/Tyler Stalman. The link is also in the description, and you're gonna get free shipping. So thanks again, Casetify. This is the main home screen. This is the stuff that matters. So unless you have an iPhone 12 mini, I highly recommend putting your most used apps near your thumb so you can reach them easily. I'm gonna start right there, which camera app. I like the camera app because it launches quickly. It's gonna do exactly what I expect all the time. And it usually does a great job. I don't typically shoot in RAW or do advanced things when I'm shooting with an iPhone. But in cases that I do need to, the app I use for that is HALIDE. So this gives you easy access to changing exposure, but also has more advanced features like you can shoot in RAW, you can lock in the white balance. And that's the best reason to have a pro camera app available when you need to lock in the settings because the automatic features are just getting it wrong. The next one's out, Safari. Don't use Chrome, it'll kill your battery. Twitter, which I hope you guys are following me. I posted about recording this video and I got a ton of great tips from you guys. So if you want more than what I could say here, at Stalman on Twitter, there's way more info. And then at Instagram, where I just posted a before and after of this crazy photo tutorial I just did. Moving along the bottom, we also got photos here. I used to use Google Photos. I would talk about this every year, and I kind of just stopped because the backup on the desktop sort of broke. And I've just been relying on iCloud so much for my backup. And next up, this is an interesting one. I've talked about this a lot. This is Spark Camera, and it is the easiest way to kind of blog and instantly record videos. All you do is press and hold, and it's recording, let go, and press and hold again, and now you've got an edited video. So this is a great way to just edit on the fly, but there is competition for this now. Finally, after years of hoping, the Clips app from Apple now supports vertical and horizontal, and it does some of these same features and has some other cool ones like dictation. So this is something I've been wanting to use for Twitter posts or Instagram stories because I know they can be more successful when there's text on screen. Wow, that is really close. It only got one word wrong, so I can go in afterwards and switch tax to text. I'm gonna start using this immediately. This is awesome. So there you go, making discoveries while I make videos. I'm moving along to edit photos. My main go-to is still VSCO, which I've been using since day one. I used the Lightroom presets for a long time back in the day, although now I use my own Lightroom presets, which there's a link in the description for those. But VSCO has just done a great job of how they manage things like their filters, also the way that their exposure slider works. That's really important. A lot of apps get that wrong, and I think VSCO does a great job. Other options, because I don't want to only say one, well, I'll kind of just show them to you here instead of digging in. There's also Darkroom, Lightroom, all do a great job. But you know what, I'm thinking of doing a whole video on those, so let me know if you want to specifically know about more photography apps. Like Sunseeker, such a good photography app. My music app of choice is the Apple Music app. If you don't already know, the Apple bundles are now available called Apple One. I went straight to the Premiere option because I already use music, I already use iCloud. So for just a few more bucks, we were able to access Apple TV, Apple News, Apple Arcade, and soon Fitness Plus. And by the way, every time I do a video like this, I get comments like, these apps aren't free, you have to pay for this. You know what, developers need to get paid. That's how they make apps. So I understand that all of our budgets are limited. You can't just buy everything. There's a lot of apps I have chosen not to buy, but I never hold it against them for wanting to build a sustainable model for their business. And if I decide that that app's not worth it for me, I'll go to something else. And actually, here's one that I'm not paying for. So a good example, I'm skipping around a little, is Fantastical. So probably my favorite feature is it has like natural text entry. So if I say dinner with Anya tomorrow at 9, it just figures that out and adds it to the right part of my calendar. So Fantastical does have a subscription service, and I don't pay for the subscription, which means I miss out on some features, but I still find all the basic stuff worthwhile, which you get with the basic app purchase. All right, and another example is 1Password, and well, I'm not gonna open 1Password for you right now, but it's a great password manager I've been using for a long time. I don't think there's a really significant difference between this and LastPass and Dashlane and some of the others. They all seem to work very well. This is just where my biggest database is. It's where I store things. But same thing, you can pay for a monthly 1Password subscription, which I think is probably worth it for a lot of people. I'm syncing using iCloud, so I miss out on some of the features. I paid for the basic app, but I don't pay the monthly fee. But now it sounds like I don't pay for anything. Like VSCO, I pay for that subscription every year. There's a few other things. Dropbox, this is like the center of how we organize files, pass things back and forth. I'm thinking of expanding this a little bit more and using Frame.io because we're working with an editor a little bit more often right now. But Dropbox is still the main way we send files to clients and share them amongst each other. The Notes app I use to dump all of my thoughts. It's my main like productivity notes thing. I should have made more notes for this video. Google Maps, I still kind of prefer it over Apple Maps, although I've been going back and forth between them lately. YouTube, you've probably heard of. Audible, I've been using since iPhones were invented. And settings. And then we've got the bottom row. So, all right, a little boring with phone, messages. Overcast is one of my favorite apps, probably because podcasts are one of my favorite things. And by the way, if you need a podcast recommendation, I've got one for you. You should be listening to the Stalman podcast, which you can find in any podcast player you like. But I talk to other YouTubers, podcasters about tech, photography, phones, all that kind of stuff. So Stalman podcast, wherever you listen to them. And then I use the default mail app, and that's it. We made it. If you want any more questions answered, head over to Twitter. I am at Stalman over there, and I'll be happy to help you out with them. And if not, I'll see you in the next video.